Hey guys, at this point you should have a copy of Shipwreck at the Bottom of the World along with the assignment bookmark, the reading schedule. The introduction for this book is on page 1 of your copy, and it's titled Just Imagine. And because I'm not in class today with you, I still wanted to make sure that we got this piece because it's really important and it kind of sets the stage for the whole rest of the book. So I wanted to read this together. This is actually a picture of the copy of my book, and so you can see that I have it annotated. Obviously, you guys are not expected to annotate this book, but it really does help with your understanding. All right, so let's just read it together, and as we go, I'll probably stop and make comments. Okay, so this is Just Imagine, page 1 of Shipwreck at the Bottom of the World. Just imagine yourself in the most hostile place on Earth. It's not the Sahara or the Gobi Desert. It's not the Arctic. The most hostile place on Earth is the Antarctic, the location of the South Pole. North Pole, South Pole, what's the difference? The Arctic, that's the North Pole, is mostly water, with ice on top, of course, and that ice is never more than a few feet thick. But under the South Pole lies a continent that supports glaciers up to 2 miles in depth. Almost the entire southern continent is covered by ice. This mammoth ice cap presses down so heavily that it actually distorts the shape of the Earth. The ice never melts. It clings to the bottom of the world, spawning winds, storms, and weather that affect the whole planet. And of all the weather it creates, the weather the Antarctic creates for itself is by far the worst. In the winter, the temperature can sink up to 100 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. Cold air masses sliding down the sides of the glaciers speed up until they become winds of close to 200 miles an hour. When winter descends on the southern continent, the seas surrounding the land begin to freeze at the terrifying rate of 2 square miles every minute until the frozen sea reaches an area of 7 million square miles, about twice the size of the United States. It is truly the most hostile environment this side of the moon. Just imagine yourself stranded in such a place. In 1915, a British crew of 28 men was stranded there with no ship and no way to contact the outside world. They all survived. That's heavy, right? This is the most hostile, the most treacherous, the last place you would ever want to be stuck. And yet, we have an entire expedition of 28 men who go exploring, who have a whole plan in place. Obviously, that plan does not come to fruition, but through a series of miracles and a series of very effective leadership, they survive. Now, it's crazy to think of, right? That you can be in such a situation, totally stranded. Nobody knows you're there. You can't get a hold of anybody. Nobody can find you or contact you, and yet you still make it out. That's amazing, amazing. This is the story of how that happens. But my question for you is why? Why on the very first page of this book does our author tell us that they survive? Why does she give away the outcome? That seems like something that, we would keep reading in order to find out how they or if they survive, right? So my question for you, and this is what you're actually going to respond to in the text box in Canvas that's associated with this video, you are going to tell me why you think Jennifer Armstrong tells you on the first page that everyone survives. Why does she give that away? Why, spoiler alert, right? Why does she spoil that piece of the story from the very beginning? What do you think the point is of that? Why does she give it away? Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to do is to start reading chapter 1. I'm sure your sub has already told you that you can read together in groups if you want to, or you can read by yourself. But your goal is to get through chapter 1 by the end of the period. If you don't get there, it is homework to read chapter 1, chapters 1 and 2. Okay, so your goal is to get through chapters 1 and 2, which is pages 2 through 16. So not too long. This will set up our exposition for this story. All right, so read chapters 1 and 2. If you don't get there, they are homework. There will be a quiz next class on these 2 chapters. All right, thanks, guys.